Yay. Okay, so um, think about, just give a minute of thought to what brings you to your practice again this week. How are you feeling? Just give some attention to how your day went, how your week went, how you're feeling today, what your restorative practice brings to you, to your body, to your mind, to your nervous system. Last week we did a little short sequence that was just a lot of movement lying down on the ground to begin to exercise some mobility, find some mobility in the joints, etc. It was all very just like gravity based on the floor. And then we did a sequence that we did like 4 poses, restorative poses held for a bit, and then shavasana. So today we'll bring some of that movement therapy back in, but we'll kind of interleave it with a couple of different poses. And we'll start on your back. So in any way that you like to support Supta Baddha Konasana, soles of your feet together, knees wide, propped on a couple of blankets maybe, and then some support for your spine. Okay, strap, if you have a strap and you want to strap up around the back, and that kind of goes down between your knees and then around your feet to hold all of that together. You can do that too. If you have something that works like that, or if you have something that will just weight your feet, keep your feet from sliding out of the pose. Have that too. I'm really enjoying this particular setup with the flat bolster, just the block behind my head, and then a rolled up blanket behind my lumbar spine. So I'm going to do that one. Let's do that. Buckle up near your hips so it's close to your hands when you're ready to let it go. I really like this setup because for me, it just feels like there's nothing to adjust. There's nothing to modify. There's nothing strenuous about it. It just completely fits the shape where my spine hits my bolster, where it fits the blanket, and then where my head falls onto the block. So we'll just arrive here, set that support up in a way that feels just like that for you, or you just, when you lie back, nothing to adjust. So as you settle in a sense, as you do the movement of your breath, and what maybe the changing quality of your breath is giving to your nervous system, to your body. And as you do, scanning for like any little kind of hiding, hideaway pockets of tension, areas of holding on where you may not be obviously aware of where you might be holding on. You might be straining a bit just to stay present to sensation in the body, to the sensations of breath. And that strain will sometimes just manifest in the head, in the muscles that support the skull, around the cheekbones, around the eyes, across the brow, especially in and around the jaw and the throat and the neck. Always just give a little check in there as we're here another couple of minutes. So we'll take another 3 or 4 breaths here. Good. And so then we'll just take our time, come out of your strap if you're using a strap to bind the legs. Come out of your strap. And then we can come from your back over onto your side. And then we'll need to just kind of set everything aside so that it's out of the way of your, just being able to lie down on your back and move a little from side to side. What? What? Come on. Water's on in there. Set all of that aside for the moment. And so before we do a supported twist, then we will just come down onto your back and we'll just do a little bit of that kind of guided movement from your back. So let's begin. Let's begin by crossing the right thigh all the way over the left thigh. And then we'll do the same cross with the arms. Your right arm is going to cross over left arm like eagle pose. We were standing and doing the standing balance of eagle pose, where you have this bind of your arms. Forearms bind, maybe the fingers touch the top palm. And then you can just let your hands, come and just rest on your forehead. So get loose there, like there's nothing to work or nothing to do with the arms now that you're intertwined. And then you're just going to let your knees and your legs and hips and feet fall to the right. Whatever follows right through the upper spine, shoulders and head and arms, right, is just a little bonus, a little consequence. And your right leg kind of pushing down on the outside of your left knee, extending your left thigh. And there's a little twist action in the spine and ribcage spine. You come back onto your left foot. And then just the same drop, just at your own pace. Linger if it feels good to linger. Pause here if it feels good to just stay for a stretch. Do that 3 more times on this side. We'll do 3 more. Just notice any kind of little shift or movement happening up in the upper back. Weight of your arm, shoulders, head maybe falls a little heavier to one side or the other as your knees drop, as your hips turn. And then kind of when you're ready and finished, so 5 rounds of that to the right, with right leg crossed over left, and then come back onto your back, uncross your feet to the floor. Balance your weight again from side to side. Put yourself in the middle of your mat. If you shift it a little bit, and then left thigh over right thigh, left arm over right arm into the eagle pose, arm bind. Rest your hands on your forehead. Let that all just be very weighty and loose, and then drop both knees to the left. And then return. Use the sole of the foot, use the ball of the foot to get back onto the full sole of the foot. And drop knees to the left. Five times all together at your own pace. And when you're ready, at your own pace and your own time, when you return, bring yourself back onto your back. letting gravity and the weight of the body and these different shapes help to start mobilizing your joints, your spine. So we'll then bring right knee into right hand, extend the left leg out onto the floor, and then let your right knee fall out into your right hand toward the floor. And then bring that knee up, put it in your left hand to cross it over and do a little rotation, little twist rotation here. Pull with as much intensity as you like, or just kind of let the weight of your body do the pose. And then do that 4 more times. Comfortable range of motion for your body, for your spine, for your hips, for your shoulders. A couple more on this side. Turn to your back, and this time just slide your right leg out long, both legs long, arms by your sides. You recenter and rebalance yourself on the floor. The floor. You're going to bring left knee, left hand. A little jackknife kind of posture here. Left knee, left hand, right leg extended. And then left knee, external rotation at the hip, left thigh. As you take the left knee off, wide to the left, and then across into rotation. And coming this way, kind of picks my whole left shoulder and my left arm up off the floor. It's a deep turn of the hips. So if that happens, just kind of let that happen. An arm is floating, opposite arm floating, and then take that left knee back out to the left. Just move as comfortable. You have to move in a comfortable range of motion for you, as far into your range of motion as just feels. No strain on your joints and your body. Last one. Okay, and then you're going to return to your back, and we'll go from here into a reclined, supported reclined spinal twist, like we would do in a normal traditional restorative practice. So you can do the spinal twist on your back like this, but maybe having kind of moved yourself without props from side to side in and out of the spinal rotation, where you're getting a real sense of where the gaps are, maybe behind the shoulder, or with the knee that comes over toward the floor that doesn't quite come to the floor. If you want to take the spinal twist on your back, think about whether or not you want some prop, whether you want some support behind the shoulder that feels like it's not quite grounded. You have a sandbag, you might just lay a small sandbag over that back shoulder. You can always come up and grab the bolster and do your reclined twist facing the floor if you want to, where you're fully supported, right? Bolster, floor, blanket, floor. Okay, so this is your standard restorative option, but you can also stay on your back in the twist. So just take your twist in one direction. Support where you want to feel support. If you're on your back, I tend to like that kind of bolster up against my lower back. Lots of ways to prop this up if you have lots of props. So let's be there. If you're doing a variation of this final twist that is not your normal, not your maybe habitual, if you usually do this final twist facing the floor using the bolster, just bring some attention to how this feels complementary. Just a reverse orientation. Still letting gravity, some support of some props gently help do the pose, in essence, do the work of the pose, rotate the ribcage spine. Let's take 3 more breaths on this first side. Good. And so, ready to switch? Move props if you need to move props. Either way, you want to set this up again, either facing, hugging onto the bolster, facing the floor, or just remaining on your back with your upper back wide, your arms wide, Your hips and your legs resting and rotated to one direction. One is not like more correct or better or more beneficial than the other. Slightly different, maybe energetic signatures. Facing the floor with the bolster, sometimes you just feel a little more inward, a little more inward posture. Sometimes you just want to hug something, hug your bolster. It is in the strict sense of restorative yoga, a little more restful, perhaps on your overall nervous system. And then sometimes you just need to lay on the floor with your arms wide. Let's take 2 or 3 more breaths on this side. And then to come out of the pose, if you're on your back, just bring that back arm and shoulder, bring everything over to the side of the floor where your hips and your legs are. And if you're using the bolster, you just push through your hands to come up. Let's come up. And then from there, bridge pose. Okay, so have what you like to have handy to support bridge pose. If you like to have some block and a little blanket behind your sacrum, or if you like to use the bolster behind your sacrum, have that handy. And then we'll start again with a little bit of movement. Back down on your back again. Get that out of the way. Right, and so moving in and out of bridge pose with your breath. And we'll add this extended arms coming up and over your head to the floor behind you. So just make sure you have room over your head for your arms to go. So you'll take a breath in here on the floor. And with exhale, you'll push your feet, bring your hips, your spine up, your arms up and over there, your head to the floor. Leave your arms there. Just inhale your spine and your hips back down to the ground. And then exhale, come back up. Inhale everything back down to the floor. Exhale, bridge pose, right arm. Let's leave the left arm down. Just take the right arm overhead. Exhale, leave your right arm there. Inhale, bridge pose. Right arm comes down as your spine and hips come back up. Left arm. Inhale, leave the left arm, bridge pose, come down. Exhale, bridge pose. Bring everything back down. Both arms. Leave the arms. Feel that in the rib cage, sides of your rib cage. Exhale, bridge pose. Inhale, come down. Let's do single arm. One more time, each arm. Exhale, right arm overhead. Bridge pose. Leave the arm. Exhaling back up, inhaling. Right arm down, spine and hips back down. Last time, left arm, bridge pose. Good. And we just pause here at the end. Okay, and then you want your prop and to support bridge pose so that we could hold, be in the pose. Rather, we could just be in the pose for a little while. Let the supports hold us in the pose. Get your block or your blanket or your bolster situated so that it supports you comfortably. And then you might, if you enjoyed that sensation of just having that nice long extension up through the sides of your rib cage, just leave your arms overhead if you want to. Cross opposite elbows, loosely hold on, or just let the arms be extended overhead if you have room for that. So some people, right, just depending on the makeup of your lower back, some people like the feeling of both of their legs extended at the same time. It is a very deep stretch into the fronts of your hips and up into your abdomen. You're going to feel what you typically feel in one hip at a time, going through both legs, both hips, and both sides of your abdomen. You can play with that, see if that feels okay on your back. To me, it creates a little too much strain in my lumbar spine. I like just to take one leg out, have the other foot standing on the floor, and then if I need to even adjust a little more, I can bring that close to me knee toward my chest. Okay, so find where you're comfortable, and if you want to extend one leg or both legs or neither. And just leave your feet on the floor. So if you are extending one leg, go ahead and bring that foot back up to stand. And then when you're ready, extend your other leg. And if you're out with both legs, just stay as long as you're comfortable. Come in with your feet when you're ready to come in with your feet. Be here another minute. And we'll just slide that extended leg back in, bring that foot back in, bring that foot back up. Release the arms and come away from your support. Good. So if you can, if you're just using one thing or a couple of things, get them out from under you so that you could just be flat on your back again. One last little sequence of just movement, somatic awareness training movements. Again, these are integrated into all of the teaching done with T.S. Little, the teacher instructor, one of my favorite instructors, through his online studio right now, but also starting to open back up studio in Santa Fe. With all of this somatic kind of on the floor, rolling around action, I would attribute to my teacher. This time we'll come up with the right foot. The left leg is extended, the right foot is standing on the floor. Your arms are just comfortably out by your sides, a little bit away from your sides. And then we're going to create a little side bend and arch in the spine just by pushing into the inner edge of the right foot and letting the knee cross over and letting the right spine, the right side of the spine arch away from the floor. Just kind of feel the drag of the right arm and the right shoulder, maybe the turn of your head toward the right. A little arch in the back, a little side bend there in the right side of the spine. We'll do that, repeat that 3 or 4 more times. It's often taught with him too, with a lot of just hip rotation. So you just let the whole leg slide out long to the floor. And then you bring the whole outer leg back up and stand the foot on the floor and then push, turn, and lift the hips and arch the back. Let's do one more, and then we'll do the left side of the spine. Right leg goes long. You bring your left foot up to stand, push the left foot into the floor, press, turn, let the hips turn. Feel the weight of your left arm slides downward toward that left foot. And you return to your back. Maybe you take the leg all the way back out. Optionally, you can re-extend the leg or just keep the foot standing on the floor. And so I'm inhaling into the pose. I'm putting wind in the big sail of your abdomen. And then you exhale, let it go. And two more like that. Let everything go long. So balanced weight across the low back and out into your two legs, along your two arms. And then bring both feet up to stand on the floor. And then see if you can find a side bend through the spine by just kind of sliding along the length of the floor. Try to just reach your hand a little bit toward your foot and just feel a very mild, little gentle squeeze, right? Maybe where your rib cage, side of your rib cage meets the side of your hip. And then you come back and do that just the same side. Right hand reaching down toward right foot. A little squeeze in the right side waist, light lengthening on the left side. Just do that one more time. On the right side, maybe your head turns to the right just to help kind of follow that lengthening right arm down. And then a few times reaching left hand down toward left foot. So feel the shoulder pull down, your right shoulder lifts, your left shoulder drops, you squeeze a little bit left side waist. And then you return to center. Just two more. Oh, come back to center. Okay, so just that little feeling practice, feeling and movement practice into side bending the spine. Then we can take the bolster or a couple of rolled up blankets and do a little bit of side bend over the bolster, where we can just get the side of the rib cage right over a nice high part of the bolster. The head can rest on the arm. Top arm can reach up and over. Make yourself comfortable on your side. Let's take 3 more breaths on your side. And then when you're ready to turn, if you want to kind of move that arm through the shoulder a few times, you can. You want to go ahead and just make your way from your back, from your side, rather, onto your other side. Just let the rib cage turn a little bit more to the back, a little bit to the front. And then come up. Yeah, and just when you're ready, take your time, bringing yourself onto your other side. Take 10 big breaths on this side. Take another breath or two here. And the same thing here if you want to before you come up. Just move your arm right around the junction of the shoulder. A time or 2 or 3, you can do that. And then we'll come up. Good. So any forward fold, maybe 8 to 10 breaths, any kind of forward fold. Propped minimally, propped maximally, but let's do a forward fold. That's kind of the one movement on your back, which you can't really affect very well on your back, is a forward fold, unless you're doing kind of crunchy sit-up type actions, rolling your spine up off the floor. Let's do a forward fold. So we can extend the spine and maybe open the backs of your legs here a bit before we settle back into a comfortable resting pose. Ideally, some support for your head behind your knees or over your legs, or you're using the seat of a chair, your choice. Legs out in front of you or wide. Again, options. Make this your choice. Make this something that serves you and your body. Okay, so whenever you're ready, just bring yourself back onto your back, comfortably supported. A few minutes here for Shavasana, but as always, if you have more time, just a few more, maybe 5 more minutes or 10 more minutes following when we bring the Zoom class to an end. If you have a few more minutes to stay, as always, Shavasana is a good place to stay for sustained hold. Restorative police would come and arrest me for only taking a few minutes for Shavasana. And tonight's class was kind of a lot, and it's leaving us a little short timed for Shavasana. Think of this class less as very much not strictly restorative. It's more just gentle yoga, slow yoga. We do some deep stretch. We do some restorative. We do some yin yoga. So find that comfortable lying down posture where, again, maybe you first bring attention to neck and throat and face and jaw and the interior cavity of your mouth, sinuses, where your brain sits. Sense of airy spaciousness there. Let's take another 2 or 3 breaths. Can you feel yourself rested? Restored to some degree? So just as you're ready, when you begin to move, moving yourself to help yourself from your back onto your side. And you come to your side and you take another breath or two. And if you have a few minutes and you'd like to stay in Shavasana for a few more minutes, by all means, take some time. I'll close our practice here. So thank you very much once again and again and again. Thank you very much for your time, for coming to practice. Reap the benefits in the days to come until you return. So namaste to you. Thanks again so much.